Every single morning you wake up, you are gifted something priceless, another chance, a chance to reset, a chance to realign, a chance to build momentum. The way you begin your morning shapes not just the hours ahead, but the quality of your life. Because if you win the morning, you win the day. You've got to understand this. Your energy, your emotions, your decisions, they're all influenced by how you step into the first moments of your day. You can stumble into it, distracted, drained, waiting for the world to decide your mood. Or you can rise with intention, with purpose, with strength. That choice is always yours. The very first moments when you open your eyes in the morning are sacred. That space between sleep and waking, between dreams and reality, is where your entire day takes shape. But most people throw it away. They reach for their phone, scroll through messages, dive straight into the chaos of the world, and immediately lose control. Instead of owning the morning, they surrender it. Instead of directing their mind, they allow the world to decide how they feel. And the truth is, once you give that away, it's hard to get it back. That's why priming your mind in the morning is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You have to imagine your mind like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant in the morning will grow throughout the day. If you plant seeds of stress, comparison, or distraction, guess what grows? More stress, more comparison, more distraction. But if you plant seeds of gratitude, power, intention, and clarity, you create a day that grows those very qualities. The morning isn't about checking what the world wants from you. It's about deciding what you want to bring into the world. Think about this, the world is always pulling at you. There are endless notifications, demands, opinions, and expectations. If you don't decide who you are and how you'll show up, you'll constantly react instead of lead. And living in reaction means you're living by someone else's design. But the moment you wake up and take control of your mind, you flip the script. You go from being a reactor to being a creator, and creation is where fulfillment lives. Priming your mind is about consciously choosing your state. It's about saying, before the world floods me with noise, I'll flood myself with strength. That could look like 5 minutes of gratitude where you feel, not just think about, what you're thankful for. It could be affirmations where you speak life into yourself with power and certainty. It could be deep breathing, meditation, prayer, visualization, or simply sitting in silence and anchoring into who you are. The form doesn't matter, the principle does. Own your state before the world hijacks it. Now let's talk about why gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to prime your mind. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It's the act of flooding your nervous system with appreciation so deeply that fear, anger, and stress cannot coexist with it. You cannot feel fear and gratitude at the same time. You cannot feel anger and gratitude at the same time. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, from what's wrong to what's right, from scarcity to abundance. And when you start your day in abundance, the day unfolds with an entirely different energy. Another powerful tool is visualization. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what you vividly imagine and what you physically experience. When you take time in the morning to see yourself succeeding, to feel yourself already embodying the strength, confidence, and focus you want, you train your mind and body to live into that reality. It's like rehearsing your best self before the curtain of the day rises. And when the curtain does rise, you don't just play the part, you live it. Let's talk about breathing. Most people underestimate the power of their breath, but your breath is the bridge between your body and your mind. When you wake up and immediately breathe shallow, fast breaths, you prime yourself for stress. When you slow it down, deepen it, and take in oxygen with intention, you prime your body for energy and calm. Breath work in the morning isn't just about relaxation. It's about setting the rhythm of your day. A steady breath leads to a steady mind. A powerful breath leads to a powerful presence. Here's the truth. If you don't choose your thoughts, they'll choose you. The mind naturally gravitates toward worry, doubt, and distraction unless you train it otherwise. Morning priming is like training your brain to focus on strength, possibility, and solutions instead of falling into negativity. You're not denying challenges. You're simply refusing to let them dominate your mindset before the day even begins. You're creating mental armor before stepping into battle. This isn't just theory, it's science. Studies show that your first 20 minutes after waking are when your brain is in its most suggestible state. That means whatever you feed it in that window sets the tone for the hours ahead. If you fill it with chaos, chaos spreads. If you fill it with empowerment, empowerment spreads. That's why priming in the morning has exponential results. It's not about just feeling good for a few minutes. It's about setting an emotional trajectory for everything that follows. Ask yourself this: what do you want your life to be fueled by, a reaction or intention? Because the choice you make in those first minutes is the choice between the two. When you react, you're at the mercy of life. When you prime, you become the master of life. That's the difference between drifting aimlessly and living deliberately. It's the difference between being shaped by the world and shaping your world. Imagine walking into your day already filled with gratitude, certainty, and clarity. Imagine being in a meeting and instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with presence and power. Imagine facing a challenge and instead of spiraling into stress, you anchor into the strength you cultivated that morning. That's the power of priming. It doesn't just shift your morning, it shifts your identity throughout the day. The question isn't whether you have time to prime your mind, it's whether you can afford not to. People say, I don't have 10 minutes. Really, you don't have 10 minutes to condition your mind, but you'll spend hours scrolling through social media or worrying about things you can't control. The truth is, if you don't make time for priming, you'll make time for stress, distraction, and regret. It's not a cost, it's an investment, and it's one of the highest return investments you'll ever make. When you commit to this practice, you start to notice something. Life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. The world doesn't stop throwing challenges at you. You just stop being thrown off by them. You don't control everything that happens. You control how you respond. And that shift, that power, starts with what you feed your mind the moment you wake up. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, don't just roll over and grab your phone. Don't just stumble into the day half awake. Instead, sit up, breathe deeply, feel gratitude, speak life into yourself. Visualize your day unfolding with power and presence. Prime your mind like a warrior preparing for battle, like a creator ready to shape reality, like a leader stepping into purpose. Because the world will try to prime you whether you like it or not. So make the choice to prime yourself first. Your body is not just a vehicle you carry through life. It is the ignition switch for your energy, your focus, your emotions, and your performance. The truth is, the way you use your body determines how you feel. If you start your morning slouched, dragging your feet, staring down at your phone, you're programming yourself for low energy, for hesitation, for weakness. But if you wake up, move with purpose, breathe with power, stand tall with your shoulders back and your chest open, your body tells your mind, I'm alive, I'm strong, I'm ready. Movement isn't optional. It's the foundation of energy. Energy doesn't come from waiting for motivation. It comes from creating momentum, and momentum is born through movement. Think about it. When you force yourself to exercise, even for just a few minutes, you suddenly feel more alive. That's not magic, it's physiology. When you move, you increase blood flow, oxygen, and hormones like dopamine and endorphins that elevate your mood and sharpen your focus. Your body is a pharmacy, and movement is the key that unlocks it. Have you ever noticed how your posture changes your emotions? When you're sad, you collapse inward, your head drops, your breathing becomes shallow. But when you're confident, you stand tall, you breathe deeply, your voice carries power. This is not a coincidence. Physiology drives psychology. Your body literally tells your brain how to feel. If you want to shift your state instantly, change your movement. If you want to elevate your morning, energize your body. Let's break down something powerful. Most people think their emotions control their actions. They say, I don't feel like exercising, I don't feel like working, I don't feel like showing up. But in reality, it's your actions that create your emotions. You don't wait to feel strong before you move to feel strong. You don't wait to feel happy before you smile to feel happy. This is the secret. Motion creates emotion. When you move, you don't just shift your body, you shift your entire being. That's why the morning is the most important time to move. Because if you start your day sitting still, scrolling endlessly, barely awake, you're setting a tone of passivity. But if you wake up and immediately engage your body, whether through stretching, walking, push-ups, dancing, or even just powerful breathing, you're telling your brain, this is a day of energy, action, and strength. You don't need an hour in the gym to change your state. You just need a few minutes of deliberate, powerful movement to light the fire. Consider this: athletes don't wait until game time to prepare their body. They warm up, they stretch, they jump, they get their blood flowing because they know their performance depends on it. Why should life be any different? Every day is your game day. Every day requires you to show up at your best. And if you want to perform at your best, you've got to prime your body with energy. You cannot perform like a champion if you prepare like a spectator. Even something as simple as walking with intensity can shift everything. Try this. Tomorrow morning, instead of dragging yourself to the kitchen, walk with speed and purpose, like you've got somewhere important to be, because you do. That simple change in your stride changes your chemistry. Your heart rate rises, your breathing deepens, your brain wakes up. Suddenly you're not stumbling into the day, you're stepping into it with power. Another way to use your body is through powerful breathing techniques. When you breathe fully, you oxygenate your body and fuel your brain. Try inhaling deeply through your nose, holding it for a moment, and then exhaling with force. Do that repeatedly and feel how quickly your energy shifts. Most people go through their morning half, breathing, starving their body of oxygen, and wondering why they feel tired. But when you control your breath, you control your energy. Now, let's talk about exercise. You don't need a fancy gym, expensive equipment, or an hour of time to condition your body. What you need is consistency. 10 minutes of bodyweight exercises, jumping jacks, squats, push-ups, yoga, or dancing in your living room can create more energy than a cup of coffee ever could. Because coffee stimulates your nervous system temporarily, but movement conditions your physiology permanently. The more you move, the more capacity you build. And here's something most people forget. Your body is designed to move. Movement isn't just about fitness, it's about life. When you sit all day, you stagnate not only physically but emotionally. That's why when people are depressed, one of the best therapies is exercise. Because when the body moves, the mind shifts. Movement unlocks energy, confidence, creativity, and resilience. If you've ever felt stuck in your head, the fastest way out is to get into your body. The connection between movement and state isn't a theory, it's a practice you can test instantly. Next time you feel stressed, stand up, shake out your arms, stretch tall, and take 3 deep breaths. Notice how your state changes in seconds. Next time you feel unmotivated, put on music that makes you come alive and move to it. Notice how your mood shifts instantly. You don't need to wait for your environment to change. You can change your state anytime by moving your body with intention. The morning is your opportunity to decide the rhythm of your day. If you wake up and choose movement, you're choosing vitality, clarity, and momentum. If you skip it, you're choosing sluggishness, distraction, and procrastination. And the difference compounds. A morning of energy leads to a day of productivity. A morning of lethargy leads to a day of wasted potential. It's not about perfection, it's about direction, and the direction of your energy is set through your body. Don't underestimate small rituals. Jumping up and down, shaking your arms, stretching wide, or even just raising your hands high in victory can create a massive shift. Why? Because your nervous system links those physical movements to emotional states. When you raise your hands like a champion, your brain releases chemicals that make you feel like a champion. You're literally hacking your biology to create a better state. And if you do this consistently, your baseline energy rises. Remember this, your body is the fastest path to shifting your emotions. You can talk to yourself all day long about being positive, but if your shoulders are slumped, your head is down, and your breathing is shallow, your body is sabotaging your message. But when your body aligns with strength, standing tall, moving with power, breathing with intensity, you don't need to force positivity. It naturally emerges, the body leads and the mind follows. So if you want to elevate your mornings, stop waiting for motivation to arrive. Stop waiting to feel good before you move. Instead, move first, create energy, and let that energy fuel everything else. Don't stumble into your day half awake. Don't crawl into your morning like it's a burden. Rise with movement, shift your body with intention, and watch how your energy transforms into the fuel that carries you forward with unstoppable momentum. Every single day is like a blank canvas. The moment you wake up, you're holding the brush. But most people don't even pick it up. They let someone else paint their picture. They allow emails, messages, problems, and distractions to decide the strokes. By the time they look at their day, it's already been scribbled over with chaos. The truth is, if you don't decide the direction of your day, something or someone else will. And when that happens, you're not living, you're just reacting. The most powerful thing you can do each morning is take a moment to decide who you're going to be and what you're going to create. That choice, that decision, is what separates a purposeful life from a life of drifting. It's not about controlling everything, because you can't. It's about setting an intention so strong that no matter what storms hit, you know your compass, you know your North Star, you know where you're heading. Think about the people you admire most. They don't stumble into their days. They don't just see what happens. They create what happens. They walk into the world with intention, with clarity, with focus. And that isn't because life hands them perfect conditions. It's because they've trained themselves to decide who they'll be regardless of the conditions. That's what makes them leaders instead of followers. When you wake up and say, "Today I decide to be grateful. Today I decide to be disciplined. Today I decide to bring energy. Today I decide to show up fully," you're giving yourself a command. And when you consistently give yourself commands and follow through, you build trust with yourself. That trust turns into confidence. That confidence turns into momentum, and momentum turns into results. It all begins with a single decision. The problem is, too many people leave their days to chance. They wake up, look at their phone, get pulled into everyone else's demands, and wonder why they feel stressed, scattered, and overwhelmed. But life is not about responding to everyone else's agenda. It's about owning yours. Your morning decision is your chance to anchor into what matters most to you before the world tries to sell you what matters to them. A powerful way to decide the direction of your day is to ask yourself 3 simple questions every morning. Who do I want to be today? What do I want to feel today? What do I want to create today? These questions force you to step into intention. They force you to clarify your values, your emotions, and your goals. And when you're clear, you don't drift, you direct. You don't react, you lead. Let's break it down further. When you decide who you want to be, you're setting your identity for the day. Maybe you decide, I will be strong, I will be patient, I will be bold. That choice shapes your behavior before anything else does. When you decide what you want to feel, you're choosing your emotional home. Maybe you choose joy, peace, energy, or determination. That choice directs how you interpret circumstances. And when you decide what you want to create, you're planting your flag in the ground. You're saying, this is what matters, and I won't end this day without moving closer to it. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to plan every detail. You just need to set a direction. Imagine a ship leaving the harbor. If the captain doesn't set a course, the ship drifts wherever the wind blows, and it might end up lost or wrecked. But even if the waters get rough, even if storms hit, a captain with a course knows where he's heading. That's the power of your morning decision. You're setting your course. You might not control the seas, but you control your sails. And here's something most people don't realize. Intention beats willpower every time. If you wake up and try to push yourself through the day without direction, you'll drain your energy fighting against distractions. But if you set a clear intention, distractions lose their power. You know what matters, you know what doesn't, and your focus becomes sharp. Intention simplifies your decisions because you already made the most important one when you woke up. Imagine waking up tomorrow and saying today, no matter what happens, I decide to bring energy, I decide to stay focused, I decide to make progress. Now, imagine carrying that into your interactions, your work, your challenges. You don't need the world to cooperate. You've already made your choice. That choice gives you strength when circumstances try to shake you. That choice keeps you aligned when temptations try to pull you. That choice keeps you moving when obstacles try to stop you. You see, the world is full of distractions designed to steal your focus. Social media, news, gossip, endless notifications. It's noise, not direction. If you let it, it will consume your day before you even realize it. But when you wake up and decide your direction, you filter the noise. You know what serves your path and what doesn't. You stop being reactive to everything and start being selective about what deserves your attention. That's not selfish, it's essential. Deciding the direction of your day also means deciding your standards. Too many people lower their standards because of circumstances. They say, "I'll be positive if things go well. I'll work hard if I feel like it. I'll be kind if people are kind to me." That's not leadership, that's weakness. When you decide your standards in the morning, you rise above circumstances. You decide, "I'll be positive no matter what. I'll work hard whether I feel like it or not. I'll be kind even when others aren't." That's strength. That's power. Another powerful practice is to identify one non-negotiable action each morning. Ask yourself, what is one thing I must do today that, if accomplished, will make me proud when I go to bed? It could be a business task, a workout, a tough conversation, or even quality time with someone you love. By deciding this in advance, you're locking in progress before the day even begins. No matter how the rest of the day unfolds, you've already chosen a win. Here's the secret. When you decide the direction of your day, you don't just change your actions, you change your identity. Every morning decision reinforces who you are becoming. If you consistently decide to be disciplined, you become disciplined. If you consistently decide to be courageous, you become courageous. If you consistently decide to be grateful, you become grateful. Your daily decisions stack into the person you ultimately are. So stop leaving your life to chance. Stop hoping the day will magically unfold the way you want. Decide your energy, decide your focus, decide your actions. Because when you step into your mornings with intention, you step into your life with purpose. And when you live with purpose, every day becomes another step toward the life you were meant to create.